A streak of light pierces the darkness of the night sky, a fiery tail blazing behind it. For a moment, the world holds its breath. To us, it might be a comet, a cosmic spectacle of ice and dust. But to the ancient world, it was something far more profound, a message from the gods, a warning, a prophecy, or a promise. Imagine standing under that vast, star-filled sky thousands of years ago with no telescopes, no science to explain what you were seeing. How would you make sense of it? How would it shape your beliefs, your fears, your very understanding of the universe? This is the story of how comets and other celestial phenomena didn't just light up the night, they ignited the imaginations of entire civilizations. From the myths they inspired to the rituals they sparked, these cosmic events left an indelible mark on human history. Today, we'll journey through time to uncover how the ancient world interpreted these celestial wonders, and how their awe and curiosity still echo in our own quest to understand the skies above. Ready to explore the mysteries of the stars, let's begin. To the ancient Greeks, a comet streaking across the heavens wasn't just a rare celestial event. It was a signal from the gods, a portent of upheaval or disaster. They called these fiery visitors hairy stars, and their appearance often sent ripples of fear through society. In fact, the great philosopher Aristotle believed comets were signs of chaotic forces at work, disturbances in the natural order that could foreshadow famine, war, or the fall of kings. For the Greeks, the skies were not just a canvas of beauty but a realm of divine communication, where every flash of light carried meaning. Across the world, the Chinese took a different yet equally profound approach. Their astronomers, some of the most meticulous record keepers of the ancient world, documented every comet they observed. These celestial events were seen as omens, but not always negative ones. In Chinese tradition, comets could signify both disaster and opportunity, depending on their appearance and timing. The famous broom star, for instance, was often interpreted as a sign of sweeping change, a call to prepare for transformation, whether in leadership, society, or nature itself. What's fascinating is how these interpretations weren't just abstract beliefs. They shaped the very fabric of daily life. In Greece, the sighting of a comet might lead to sacrifices or rituals to appease the gods, while in China, it could influence decisions about war, agriculture, or even the construction of monumental projects. The heavens were a mirror reflecting humanity's deepest fears and aspirations. And as we'll see, these ancient interpretations didn't just stay in the realm of myth. They laid the groundwork for how entire civilizations navigated the uncertainties of their world. While the Greeks and Chinese saw comets as divine messages, the Romans took this belief to a whole new level, weaving celestial events into the very fabric of their political power. In the Roman Empire, a comet wasn't just a sign, it was a symbol of divine favor. When Julius Caesar was assassinated in 44 B.C., a bright comet appeared in the sky during his funeral games. The Romans called it the Julian star, and it was seen as proof that Caesar had ascended to join the gods. This celestial endorsement wasn't just symbolic. It cemented his legacy and bolstered the authority of his adopted heir, Augustus, who would go on to become Rome's first emperor. For the Romans, comets weren't just omens, they were tools of propaganda, used to legitimize rulers and inspire loyalty among the people. But it wasn't just comets that carried meaning. Eclipses, too, were seen as powerful omens capable of shaking entire societies to their core. In the Aztec civilization, an eclipse was not a simple alignment of celestial bodies, it was a cosmic battle. The Aztecs believed that the sun god, Meteor, and the moon goddess, Coyolxauhqui, were locked in an eternal struggle. When the moon appeared to devour the sun during an eclipse, it was seen as a moment of crisis, a sign that the gods needed appeasement. To prevent the sun from disappearing forever, Aztec priests would perform elaborate rituals, including human sacrifices, to restore balance and ensure the sun's return. These rituals weren't just acts of faith, they were acts of survival, rooted in the belief that the fate of the world hung in the balance. Meteor showers, too, were laden with meaning. In many cultures, these fleeting streaks of light were seen as messages from the gods, warning of impending change. In medieval Europe, for instance, meteor showers were often interpreted as signs of divine wrath, heralding disasters like plagues or invasions. But in other traditions, they were seen as blessings, showers of celestial fire that brought good fortune or marked the birth of great leaders. What's striking is how these interpretations transcended geography and culture, revealing a universal human tendency to seek meaning in the skies above. These celestial omens didn't just exist in the realm of myth, they had real-world consequences. Kings and emperors used them to justify their rule, while entire societies altered their behavior in response to what they saw as divine warnings. The heavens were a stage, and every flash of light, every darkened sun, was a cue for humanity to act. Whether through rituals, sacrifices, or grand political maneuvers, ancient civilizations demonstrated a profound connection between the cosmos and their daily lives, a connection that still resonates in our own fascination with the stars. The stars above have always been more than just points of light, they've been a canvas for human curiosity. Long before the invention of telescopes or satellites, ancient civilizations were already mapping the heavens with astonishing precision. From the dusty plains of Mesopotamia to the lush jungles of Central America, early astronomers didn't just observe the skies, they recorded their findings in intricate detail, creating some of the world's first astronomical records. These weren't mere scribbles or casual notes, they were masterpieces of observation, born out of a deep desire to understand the cosmos and its mysterious patterns. Take the Babylonians, for example. Over 2,000 years ago, they etched their observations onto clay tablets, documenting everything from the movements of planets to the appearances of comets. These tablets, preserved through the ages, reveal a level of accuracy that's nothing short of remarkable. The Babylonians weren't just stargazers, they were mathematicians, tracking celestial events with such precision that their records still inform modern astronomy today. They noticed patterns in the skies, like the recurring cycles of eclipses, and used this knowledge to predict future events. For them, the heavens were a clock, ticking with rhythms that shaped their calendars, their rituals, and even their daily lives. Meanwhile, across the globe in ancient China, astronomers were crafting star charts so detailed they could rival modern maps. The Chinese didn't just see the stars as random dots, they grouped them into constellations, each with its own story and significance. Their records of comets, known as guest stars, were meticulous, noting the direction, brightness, and duration of each sighting. These observations weren't just for show, they were tied to the very fabric of Chinese society, influencing everything from imperial decisions to agricultural planning. The Chinese believed that the heavens were a mirror of earthly affairs, and by understanding the stars, they could navigate the uncertainties of life on Earth. Far to the west, the Mayans were also turning their gaze skyward, creating codices books made from bark paper that detailed their astronomical knowledge. Their records included not just comets and eclipses, but also the movements of Venus, which they considered a powerful deity. The Mayans used these observations to create a calendar so precise it could predict celestial events centuries in advance. For them, astronomy wasn't just a science, it was a sacred duty, a way of maintaining harmony between the heavens and the earth. What ties these ancient civilizations together is their unwavering dedication to the skies. They didn't have the tools we have today, but they had something equally powerful, a deep, unshakable connection to the cosmos. Their records weren't just about tracking stars, they were about understanding their place in the universe. And as we look back on their work, we see more than just early science. We see the roots of our own quest to explore the mysteries of the heavens. These ancient astronomers remind us that the night sky has always been more than a spectacle. It's been a source of wonder, a guide, and a mirror reflecting humanity's endless curiosity. The ancient world saw comets as fiery omens, eclipses as cosmic battles, and meteor showers as divine messages. But what's the science behind these celestial phenomena? Today, we know that comets aren't fiery messengers from the gods. They're icy remnants from the early solar system. As a comet hurtles through space and gets closer to the sun, the heat causes its icy core to vaporize, releasing gas and dust. This forms the glowing coma, a hazy cloud around the nucleus, and the iconic tail that can stretch millions of miles across the sky. That tail, which always points away from the sun due to solar wind, is what made comets so mesmerizing to ancient observers. It wasn't a sign of divine wrath or favor. It was a cosmic snowball melting under the sun's intense heat. Eclipses, too, have a straightforward scientific explanation, though their dramatic appearance still captivates us today. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the Earth and the sun, casting a shadow that temporarily blocks the sun's light. A lunar eclipse, on the other hand, happens when the Earth moves between the sun and the moon, causing the moon to take on a reddish hue as it enters Earth's shadow. While the Aztecs saw eclipses as battles between gods, and other cultures viewed them as omens of doom, we now understand them as precise alignments of celestial bodies, a testament to the predictable mechanics of our solar system. Meteor showers, those dazzling displays of shooting stars, are another phenomenon that once seemed magical. In reality, they're caused by tiny particles of debris often left behind by comets, burning up as they enter Earth's atmosphere. These streaks of light, which ancient cultures interpreted as messages or warnings, are simply grains of dust colliding with our planet at incredible speeds. The annual Perseid meteor shower, for example, is caused by debris from the comet Swift-Tuttle, while the Leonids come from the tail of comet Tempel-Tuttle. These showers are predictable, occurring at the same time each year as Earth passes through the comet's debris trail. What's remarkable is how these scientific explanations don't diminish the wonder of these events, they deepen it. The same comets that ancient Greeks saw as harbingers of chaos are now windows into the origins of our solar system. Eclipses, once seen as divine struggles, are precise astronomical events that help us study the sun and moon in extraordinary detail. And meteor showers, once viewed as celestial omens, remind us of the dynamic, ever-changing nature of our universe. In a way, the ancient interpretations and modern science aren't so different. Both are attempts to make sense of the cosmos, to find meaning in the vast, mysterious expanse above us. The ancients used myth and ritual, we use telescopes and equations. But the awe, the curiosity, the desire to understand, that's a thread that connects us across time. The next time you look up at a comet streaking across the sky or a meteor shower lighting up the night, remember, you're part of a long, unbroken chain of stargazers, each of us searching for answers in the stars. The night sky has always been a source of inspiration, not just for astronomers and philosophers, but for artists and storytellers as well. Long before the invention of the written word, ancient humans were capturing the wonders of the cosmos in their art. In cave paintings found across Europe and Africa, some of the earliest depictions of celestial events can be seen vivid swirls and dots that scholars believe represent comets, meteor showers, or even supernova. These ancient artists didn't just record what they saw, they imbued their work with meaning, turning the mysteries of the heavens into stories that would endure for millennia. One of the most striking examples of comets in art comes from the Middle Ages, the Bayeux Tapestry. This sprawling embroidered cloth, created in the 11th century, tells the story of the Norman conquest of England. Among its vivid scenes of battles and coronations, there's a depiction of Halley's Comet, which appeared in the sky in 1066. To the people of the time, this fiery visitor was seen as an omen, specifically, a sign of divine approval for William the Conqueror's invasion. The tapestry captures this moment with a sense of awe and foreboding, reminding us how deeply celestial events were woven into the fabric of history and culture. In ancient Greece, comets and other celestial phenomena found their way into literature, particularly in the works of playwrights like Aeschylus and Euripides. In their tragedies, comets often served as symbols of impending doom or divine intervention. For example, in Aeschylus's play Agamemnon, a comet is described as a harbinger of disaster, its fiery tail mirroring the turmoil and bloodshed that follows. These literary references weren't just poetic flourishes, they reflected the very real belief that the heavens were intimately connected to human fate. Even in the East, comets held a prominent place in art and literature. In ancient China, poets and painters often depicted guest stars as symbols of change and transformation. The famous Tang Dynasty poet Li Bai wrote of a comet as a silver dragon streaking across the heavens, a metaphor that captured both its beauty and its ominous significance. Chinese scrolls and paintings from the same period often feature comets as celestial messengers, their tails sweeping across the sky like brushstrokes of ink. What's fascinating about these artistic and literary depictions is how they reveal the universal human impulse to find meaning in the cosmos. Whether carved into stone, woven into fabric, or penned in poetry, comets and celestial events were more than just objects of curiosity. They were symbols of the unknown, the divine, and the transformative. Through these works, we can glimpse how ancient cultures grappled with the same questions we ask today. What lies beyond our world, and what does it mean for us? These artistic expressions don't just tell us about comets, they tell us about the people who saw them. They offer a window into the hopes, fears, and imaginations of civilizations long gone, reminding us that the night sky has always been more than a backdrop. It's been a canvas for the human spirit. As we look back at these ancient masterpieces, we're not just seeing comets, we're seeing ourselves reflected in the stars. Imagine standing under a vast, open sky, thousands of years ago, with no warning systems, no scientific explanations, and no way to predict what might happen next. Suddenly, the sun vanishes in the middle of the day, plunging the world into darkness, or a fiery comet streaks across the night, its tail blazing like a warning. How would you feel? For ancient societies, celestial events like these weren't just awe-inspiring, they were deeply unsettling. The unpredictability of comets, eclipses, and meteor showers tapped into something primal, a mix of wonder, fear, and a desperate need to make sense of the unknown. This psychological impact was profound. When the sun disappeared during an eclipse, it wasn't just a cosmic alignment, it felt like the end of the world. For cultures that relied on the sun's daily cycle for survival, its sudden absence could trigger panic. People didn't just wonder what was happening, they feared that the gods were angry, that the natural order had been disrupted. Comets, with their eerie, unpredictable appearances, were no less alarming. Their sudden arrival was often seen as a harbinger of doom, a sign that something terrible was about to happen. This mix of awe and fear wasn't just fleeting. It shaped the way entire societies thought about their place in the universe, but it wasn't all fear. These celestial events also sparked curiosity, a desire to understand and even control the forces at work. Ancient astronomers, priests, and thinkers began to look for patterns, to track the movements of the stars and planets in hopes of predicting when the next eclipse or comet might appear. This wasn't just about survival, it was about seeking meaning. By observing the heavens, they were trying to answer fundamental questions. Why did these events happen? What did they mean? And most importantly, how could they ensure that the gods or the universe itself remained on their side? This blend of fear, awe, and curiosity didn't just influence science, it shaped spirituality and religion. Many ancient cultures saw celestial events as direct communication from the gods. In Mesopotamia, for example, eclipses were believed to be messages from the gods, often warning of impending disaster. In response, priests would perform rituals to appease the deities and restore balance. Similarly, in many Native American traditions, comets and meteor showers were seen as signs of spiritual transformation, moments when the veil between the earthly and the divine was at its thinnest. These beliefs weren't just superstitions, they were ways of coping with the unknown, of finding order in chaos. What's fascinating is how these psychological responses transcended geography and time. Whether in ancient Egypt, China, or the Americas, people reacted to celestial events with a similar mix of emotions. This universality suggests something deeply human, a shared need to make sense of the cosmos, to find meaning in the vast, unpredictable expanse above us. For ancient cultures, celestial events weren't just phenomena to observe, they were experiences that shaped their worldview. They reminded people of their vulnerability, but also of their connection to something greater. The heavens were a mirror reflecting humanity's deepest fears and highest aspirations. And as we look back on these ancient reactions, we see more than just early attempts to understand the universe. We see the beginnings of our own quest for meaning, a quest that continues to this day. The next time you look up at a comet or watch an eclipse, think about the ancient stargazers who stood beneath the same sky. Their awe, their fear, their curiosity, it's all part of a story that connects us across time. And in that connection, we find not just the roots of science and spirituality, but the enduring human desire to understand our place in the cosmos. As the night sky unfolded its mysteries, ancient societies turned to a special group of individuals to decode its secrets: priests, astrologers, and shamans. These figures weren't just observers of the heavens, they were interpreters, mediators, and guides, bridging the gap between the divine and the earthly. Armed with knowledge passed down through generations, they studied the stars, tracked the movements of planets, and recorded the appearances of comets and eclipses. But their role went far beyond mere observation. They were the keepers of wisdom, the ones who could read the celestial signs and translate them into guidance for kings, farmers, and entire communities. Take the Babylonians, for example. In Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, astrologers held a position of immense power and respect. They meticulously tracked the movements of celestial bodies, compiling detailed records that allowed them to predict events like eclipses with remarkable accuracy. These predictions weren't just scientific achievements, they were tools of governance. Babylonian kings relied on their astrologers to interpret the will of the gods, using these insights to make decisions about war, agriculture, and even the timing of festivals. For the Babylonians, the heavens were a divine textbook, and the astrologers were its most skilled readers. Across the ocean in the Andes, the Inca civilization had its own celestial interpreters, the amateurs or priest astronomers. The Inca believed that their gods resided in the stars, and the amateurs were tasked with maintaining harmony between the heavens and the earth. They built observatories like the famous Coricancha in Cusco, where they tracked the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. These observations were intricately tied to their agricultural calendar, guiding when to plant and harvest crops. But the amateurs' role wasn't limited to farming. They also used their knowledge to plan religious ceremonies, ensuring that these rituals aligned with celestial cycles. For the Inca, the heavens weren't just a source of guidance, they were a living, breathing part of their spiritual world. In ancient China, the role of the astrologer was equally vital. Known as the Mandarins of the Stars, these scholars served the emperor, interpreting celestial omens to guide imperial decisions. Comets, eclipses, and unusual planetary alignments were seen as direct messages from heaven, and the emperor's astrologers were responsible for deciphering these signs. Their work wasn't just about predicting the future, it was about maintaining the mandate of heaven, the belief that the emperor's right to rule was divinely ordained. A misinterpreted omen could spell disaster, while a correctly understood sign could bring prosperity and stability. What's striking about these ancient interpreters is how they combined observation with intuition, science with spirituality. They didn't just see the stars as distant objects, they saw them as active participants in human affairs. Their interpretations shaped everything from political decisions to daily rituals, weaving the cosmos into the very fabric of life. And while their methods might seem mystical to us today, their legacy lives on in our own efforts to understand the universe. These ancient figures remind us that the night sky has always been more than a spectacle. It's been a source of guidance, a mirror reflecting humanity's deepest questions. Whether through the meticulous records of Babylonian astrologers, the ceremonial precision of Inca priests, or the imperial insights of Chinese mandarins, these interpreters of the heavens helped shape the course of history. They were the original stargazers, and their work continues to inspire us as we look to the skies, searching for answers to the same timeless questions. For ancient civilizations, the heavens weren't just a source of wonder or fear. They were a clock. The predictable movements of the sun, moon, and stars provided a way to measure time, guiding everything from planting seasons to religious festivals. But these calendars weren't just practical tools. They were reflections of a profound belief that the cosmos and human life were deeply intertwined. Take the Mayans, for example. Their long count calendar, one of the most sophisticated timekeeping systems ever created, was based on meticulous astronomical observations. The Mayans didn't just track the days, they mapped the movements of Venus, the cycles of the moon, and even the patterns of eclipses. Their calendar wasn't just about counting time, it was about understanding the rhythms of the universe. For the Mayans, celestial events weren't random. They were part of a grand, cyclical order that shaped everything from agriculture to architecture. Temples were aligned with the stars, and rituals were timed to coincide with astronomical events, ensuring harmony between the heavens and the earth. Similarly, the Egyptians looked to the skies to create their solar calendar, one of the first to align closely with the natural world. Their calendar was tied to the annual flooding of the Nile, a life-giving event that transformed the arid landscape into fertile farmland. The Egyptians noticed that the flooding coincided with the heliacal rising of Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. By marking this celestial event, they could predict the flood's arrival, planning their agricultural activities with precision. For the Egyptians, the stars weren't just distant lights, they were allies guiding them through the rhythms of life. But it wasn't just the Mayans and Egyptians who saw the heavens as a guide. Across the globe, the Babylonians developed a lunar calendar, dividing the year into months based on the moon's phases. This system, while different from the solar calendars of other cultures, was no less significant. The Babylonians used their calendar to track religious festivals, agricultural cycles, and even the reigns of kings. Their observations of the moon's movements were so precise that they could predict lunar eclipses centuries in advance, turning the heavens into a tool for both governance and survival. What's remarkable about these ancient calendars is how they reveal a universal truth. The sky was more than a backdrop for human life, it was a partner. By aligning their lives with celestial events, these civilizations found a way to navigate the uncertainties of existence. The Mayans saw time as a cycle, the Egyptians as a rhythm, and the Babylonians as a sequence. But for all of them, the heavens were a source of order, a way to make sense of the chaos below. These ancient calendars remind us that the stars weren't just objects of curiosity, they were guides shaping the very fabric of daily life. Whether through the precise calculations of the Mayans, the agricultural insights of the Egyptians, or the lunar rhythms of the Babylonians, these civilizations showed us that the cosmos is more than a spectacle. It's a mirror reflecting our deepest needs and aspirations, and in that reflection we see not just the origins of timekeeping, but the enduring human desire to find meaning in the stars. The heavens didn't just inspire ancient myths and rituals, they shaped the very ground beneath our feet. Across the globe, from the windswept plains of England to the sun-baked sands of Egypt, ancient builders looked to the stars for guidance, crafting structures that were as much about the cosmos as they were about the Earth. These monumental creations weren't just feats of engineering, they were maps of the sky designed to align with the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. Take Stonehenge, for example. This iconic ring of standing stones erected over 4,000 years ago is a masterpiece of celestial alignment. During the summer solstice, the rising sun shines directly through the monument's central axis, casting long shadows and illuminating the inner circle. For the people who built it, this wasn't just a stunning visual effect, it was a moment of connection with the heavens, a way to mark the changing seasons and celebrate the sun's life-giving power. Stonehenge wasn't just a structure, it was a calendar, a temple, and a cosmic compass all in one. Far to the south, the pyramids of Giza stand as another testament to the ancient world's celestial obsession. Built with astonishing precision, the Great Pyramid is aligned almost perfectly with the four cardinal directions north, south, east, and west, but that's not all. Some researchers believe that the pyramid's air shafts point directly to specific stars, such as Sirius and Orion's belt, which held deep spiritual significance for the ancient Egyptians. These alignments weren't accidental. They were deliberate, reflecting the belief that the pharaohs, as earthly representatives of the gods, were destined to join the stars in the afterlife. The pyramids weren't just tombs, they were stairways to the heavens. In Central America, the Mayans took celestial architecture to another level. Their pyramids and temples were designed to align with key astronomical events, such as the equinoxes and solstices. At Chichen Itza, the Temple of Kukulkan is a marvel of precision. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, the setting sun casts a series of triangular shadows down the pyramid steps, creating the illusion of a serpent slithering down the structure. This phenomenon, known as the descending serpent, wasn't just a visual spectacle, it was a sacred symbol of renewal, marking the changing seasons and the cyclical nature of time. What's striking about these ancient structures is how they blend the practical with the profound. Stonehenge, the pyramids, and the temples of the Mayans weren't just tools for tracking time or predicting celestial events, they were symbols of humanity's connection to the cosmos. They reflected a worldview in which the heavens and the earth were inseparable, where every stone, every angle, every shadow was a tribute to the mysteries above. These architectural marvels remind us that the night sky wasn't just something to observe, it was something to live by. By aligning their buildings with the stars, ancient civilizations turned their cities into living observatories, places where the rhythms of the cosmos shaped the rhythms of daily life. And as we stand in the shadows of these ancient wonders, we can't help but feel a sense of awe, not just at their beauty, but at the enduring human desire to reach for the stars. The next time you visit a historic site or gaze at a photograph of an ancient monument, take a moment to consider its celestial connections. These structures are more than just relics of the past. They are testaments to the timeless bond between humanity and the heavens, a bond that continues to inspire us as we build, dream, and explore. The astronomical knowledge of ancient civilizations wasn't just a product of their time, it laid the foundation for the science we rely on today. Thousands of years before the invention of telescopes or satellites, early astronomers were already mapping the stars, recording celestial events, and unraveling the mysteries of the cosmos. Their work, once seen as a blend of science and spirituality, has become a cornerstone of modern astronomy, offering insights that continue to shape our understanding of the universe. Take the Babylonian clay tablets, for instance. These ancient records, etched with meticulous precision, documented the movements of planets, the appearances of comets, and even the cycles of eclipses. What's remarkable is how these observations have stood the test of time. Modern astronomers have used Babylonian eclipse records to study the gradual slowing of Earth's rotation, a phenomenon known as tidal deceleration. By comparing these ancient records with contemporary data, scientists can track changes over millennia, revealing subtle shifts in our planet's behavior. These tablets aren't just relics, they're time capsules, preserving knowledge that still informs our research today. Similarly, the Chinese astronomers' detailed records of guest stars, what we now know as supernovae, have proven invaluable. One of the most famous examples is the supernova of 1054, which was observed and documented by Chinese astronomers. This event, which created the Crab Nebula, is still studied by astrophysicists today. By combining ancient observations with modern technology, scientists can piece together the life cycle of stars, understanding how they form, evolve, and eventually explode. These ancient records aren't just historical curiosities, they're critical pieces of the cosmic puzzle. But it's not just the records themselves that have left a lasting legacy. The techniques developed by ancient astronomers, from star mapping to timekeeping, have profoundly influenced modern science. The Mayan long count calendar, for example, with its precise tracking of celestial cycles, laid the groundwork for the study of astronomical rhythms. Today, we use similar principles to predict everything from solar flares to meteor showers, building on the foundations laid by these early stargazers. Even the architectural marvels of the ancient world, like Stonehenge and the pyramids, have lessons to teach us. These structures, designed to align with celestial events, demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of astronomy that continues to inspire modern architects and scientists. The precision with which these monuments were built reflects a deep connection between the heavens and the earth, a connection that modern researchers are still exploring. What's truly extraordinary is how these ancient discoveries have transcended time and culture. From the Babylonian clay tablets to the Mayan codices, from the Chinese star charts to the Egyptian pyramids, these early efforts to understand the cosmos have left an indelible mark on human history. They remind us that the quest for knowledge is a universal human endeavor, one that spans centuries and civilizations. As we look back on these ancient achievements, we see more than just the origins of astronomy. We see the roots of our own curiosity. The same questions that drove the Babylonians to track eclipses, the Mayans to map Venus, and the Chinese to record supernovas still drive us today. How did the universe begin? What lies beyond our world? And what can the stars tell us about our place in the cosmos? The legacy of ancient astronomical knowledge is more than a collection of records and techniques. It's a testament to the enduring human spirit of exploration. It's a reminder that the night sky has always been more than a backdrop. It's been a source of inspiration, a guide, and a mirror reflecting our deepest questions. And as we continue to explore the mysteries of the universe, we stand on the shoulders of those ancient stargazers, carrying their legacy forward into the stars. The heavens have always been more than a backdrop for human history. They've been active participants, shaping the fate of nations and the outcomes of wars. In ancient times, celestial events weren't just observed. They were interpreted as direct messages from the gods, influencing everything from battlefield tactics to the morale of entire armies. A comet streaking across the sky or an eclipse darkening the sun wasn't just a phenomenon to marvel at, it was a sign, a signal that could sway the course of history. One of the most striking examples comes from the Battle of Marathon in 490 B.C. As the outnumbered Athenian forces prepared to face the mighty Persian army, a comet appeared in the night sky. To the Greeks, this wasn't just a random celestial event. It was a divine omen, a sign that the gods favored their cause. Emboldened by this celestial endorsement, the Athenians launched a daring attack, securing a decisive victory that would echo through the ages. The comet, seen as a symbol of divine intervention, became a rallying cry, a reminder that the heavens were on their side. Centuries later, celestial omens played a pivotal role in the fall of Constantinople in 1453. As the Ottoman forces laid siege to the city, an eclipse darkened the sky, casting an eerie shadow over the battlefield. For the defenders of Constantinople, this was a terrifying sign, a portent of doom that shook their resolve. The eclipse was interpreted as a signal that their cause was lost, that the heavens had turned against them. This psychological blow, combined with the relentless Ottoman assault, contributed to the city's eventual fall. What began as a celestial event became a turning point in history, a moment when the stars seemed to dictate the fate of empires. But it wasn't just comets and eclipses that influenced warfare. Meteor showers, too, were seen as powerful omens. In ancient Rome, the appearance of shooting stars before a battle was often interpreted as a sign of divine wrath or favor. Roman generals would consult astrologers to determine the best time to engage the enemy, ensuring that their actions aligned with the will of the gods. These celestial signs weren't just superstitions, they were strategic tools used to inspire troops and predict outcomes. What's fascinating is how these interpretations transcended cultures. In China, for example, comets were often seen as harbingers of war, their appearance signaling the outbreak of conflict or the fall of a dynasty. Chinese military leaders would use these celestial signs to guide their strategies, timing their campaigns to align with what they believed were favorable omens. The heavens weren't just a source of fear, they were a guide shaping the decisions of generals and the fates of nations. These ancient beliefs remind us that celestial events weren't just observed, they were felt, shaping the emotions and actions of entire societies. A comet wasn't just a streak of light, it was a call to arms. An eclipse wasn't just a shadow, it was a warning. The stars weren't just distant lights, they were active players in the drama of human history. As we look back on these moments, we see more than just early attempts to understand the cosmos. We see the profound impact of the heavens on the human psyche. The next time you gaze at a comet or watch an eclipse, remember the battles fought under their light, the generals who sought their guidance, and the civilizations that saw in them the hand of destiny. The night sky has always been more than a spectacle, it's been a force, shaping the course of history and the fate of nations. To the ancient mind, the heavens were both a mystery and a guide, a place where science and superstition often walked hand in hand. Early astronomers didn't just observe the stars, they wove their observations into the fabric of their beliefs, creating a tapestry where empirical data and mythological explanations coexisted. This wasn't a contradiction, it was a natural response to a world where the line between the known and the unknown was often blurred. Take the Babylonians, for instance. Their meticulous records of planetary movements and eclipses were among the most advanced of their time. Yet, these same observations were steeped in a worldview that saw the stars as divine messengers. A solar eclipse wasn't just a predictable alignment of celestial bodies. It was a warning from the gods, a sign that something was amiss in the earthly realm. The Babylonians didn't separate their scientific observations from their spiritual beliefs. Instead, they saw them as two sides of the same coin. Their astronomical charts were as much about predicting the future as they were about understanding the present, a blend of logic and lore that shaped their society. Similarly, in ancient China, astronomers were both scientists and spiritual interpreters. They carefully documented the appearance of comets and the paths of planets, using their findings to guide imperial decisions. But these records weren't just cold, hard facts, they were imbued with meaning. A comet wasn't merely a ball of ice and dust, it was a guest star, a celestial visitor whose appearance carried profound implications. The Chinese saw no conflict between their detailed observations and their belief in the heavens as a mirror of earthly affairs. For them, science and spirituality were intertwined, each informing the other in a delicate dance of discovery and interpretation. This duality wasn't limited to the ancient world. Even in medieval Europe, where the Church held significant sway, astronomers like Johannes Kepler and Tycho Brahe struggled to reconcile their scientific findings with their religious beliefs. Kepler, for example, saw the universe as a reflection of divine order, its mathematical precision a testament to the Creator's handiwork. His laws of planetary motion were groundbreaking scientific achievements, yet they were also deeply rooted in his spiritual convictions. This blending of science and faith wasn't just a quirk of history, it was a reflection of humanity's enduring desire to find meaning in the cosmos. What's fascinating about this intersection is how it shaped the development of both fields. Early scientific inquiry often grew out of spiritual curiosity as people sought to understand the forces that governed their lives. At the same time, mythological explanations provided a framework for interpreting the unknown, offering comfort and guidance in the face of uncertainty. This interplay between observation and belief wasn't a hindrance to progress, it was a catalyst driving humanity to explore, question, and seek answers. As we look back on these ancient interpretations, we see more than just the origins of science or spirituality. We see a reflection of ourselves, a reminder that the quest for knowledge is as much about understanding the world as it is about understanding our place within it. The next time you gaze at the stars, consider how these early stargazers bridged the gap between the empirical and the mystical, creating a legacy that continues to inspire us today. This delicate balance between science and superstition didn't just shape ancient societies, it laid the groundwork for the way we approach the cosmos even now. Whether through the lens of a telescope or the pages of a myth, the heavens have always been a source of wonder, a place where the known and the unknown meet. And in that meeting, we find not just answers, but new questions that keep us looking up, searching for the next thread in the endless tapestry of the universe. Halley's Comet is more than just a celestial visitor. It's a cultural icon, a phenomenon that has captured the human imagination for millennia. Known for its regular appearances roughly every 76 years, this comet has left an indelible mark on history, weaving its way through art, literature, and the collective consciousness of civilizations across the globe. From ancient chronicles to modern interpretations, Halley's Comet has been seen as a harbinger of change, a symbol of destiny, and a reminder of the universe's vast mysteries. The earliest recorded sightings of Halley's Comet date back to ancient China, where meticulous astronomers documented its appearances as early as 240 BC. Known in Chinese records as the Broom Star, its arrival was often interpreted as an omen, signaling everything from the rise of new rulers to the fall of empires. These observations weren't just casual notes, they were tied to the very fabric of Chinese society, influencing decisions at the highest levels of governance. The comet's fiery tail, sweeping across the sky like a celestial brushstroke, became a symbol of transformation, a reminder that even the heavens were in flux. In Europe, Halley's Comet made its mark in a different but equally profound way. One of its most famous appearances occurred in 1066, a year that would become synonymous with conquest and change. The comet's arrival coincided with the Norman invasion of England, and its image was immortalized in the Bayeux Tapestry, where it hovers ominously above the scene of King Harold's coronation. To the people of the time, this wasn't just a coincidence, it was a divine signal, a celestial endorsement of William the Conqueror's claim to the throne. The comet's presence in the tapestry isn't just a historical detail, it's a testament to how deeply celestial events were woven into the cultural and political narratives of the time. But Halley's Comet wasn't just a symbol of upheaval, it also became a source of inspiration for artists and writers. In the Renaissance, the comet's appearances sparked a wave of creativity, with painters like Giotto depicting it as the Star of Bethlehem in his famous Adoration of the Magi. This blending of science and art wasn't just about capturing a celestial event, it was about exploring its deeper meaning, its connection to human destiny. Similarly, in literature, the comet became a recurring motif, appearing in works by Shakespeare, Mark Twain, and countless others. Twain, in fact, famously quipped that he had come into the world with Halley's Comet in 1835 and expected to leave with it in 1910, a prediction that eerily came true. What's remarkable about Halley's Comet is how its cultural significance has endured across centuries and continents. Whether seen as an omen, a muse, or a scientific marvel, it has consistently captured the human imagination, reminding us of our place in a vast and ever-changing universe. Its appearances have marked pivotal moments in history, from the rise of empires to the birth of literary giants, leaving a legacy that transcends time and culture. Today, Halley's Comet continues to fascinate us, not just as a celestial phenomenon, but as a symbol of our enduring connection to the cosmos. Its next appearance in 2061 will undoubtedly spark new stories, new interpretations, and new reflections on what it means to be part of a universe that's both awe-inspiring and deeply mysterious. As we look forward to that moment, we carry with us the lessons of the past, a reminder that the stars above have always been more than distant lights. They are mirrors reflecting our hopes, our fears, and our endless curiosity about the world beyond. The skies above were not just a source of wonder or fear, they were a sacred space, a realm where the divine and the earthly converged. For ancient civilizations, celestial events weren't merely observed. They were woven into the very fabric of religious life, becoming central to rituals and ceremonies that defined entire cultures. These practices weren't just about marking time or appeasing the gods, they were about forging a connection between humanity and the cosmos, a bond that shaped beliefs, traditions, and the very rhythm of daily life. Take the Inca civilization, for example. High in the Andes, the Incas celebrated Inti Raymi, a grand festival honoring Inti, the sun god. Held during the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, this ceremony was a time of renewal and gratitude. The Incas believed that the sun, the source of all life, needed to be coaxed back to its full strength. During Inti Raymi, priests, nobles, and commoners alike gathered in Cusco, the heart of the empire, to offer sacrifices, perform dances, and chant prayers. The rituals were elaborate, involving offerings of food, animals, and even gold, all meant to ensure the sun's return and the continuation of life. For the Incas, the solstice wasn't just an astronomical event, it was a spiritual turning point, a moment when the heavens and the earth were in perfect harmony. Far to the north, in ancient Egypt, the rising of Sirius held a similar significance. Known as the Dog Star, Sirius was more than just the brightest star in the night sky. It was a herald of the Nile's annual flooding. This event, which brought life-giving water and fertile silt to the parched land, was seen as a gift from the gods. Egyptian priests meticulously tracked Sirius's heliacal rising, the moment when it first becomes visible just before dawn after a period of invisibility. This celestial event marked the beginning of the new year and was celebrated with rituals honoring Osiris, the god of the afterlife and rebirth. The flooding of the Nile wasn't just a natural phenomenon, it was a divine act, and the rising of Sirius was the signal that the gods had once again blessed the land. In Mesopotamia, the connection between the heavens and religious life was equally profound. The Babylonians, masters of celestial observation, believed that the movements of the stars and planets were messages from the gods. Priests known as Baras would interpret these signs to guide the king and the people. During lunar eclipses, for instance, elaborate rituals were performed to appease the moon god Sin and ensure his protection. These ceremonies often involved offerings, prayers, and public proclamations, all aimed at restoring cosmic balance. For the Babylonians, every celestial event was a call to action, a reminder that the gods were watching and that their favor was essential for survival. What's striking about these rituals is how they reflect a universal human impulse to find meaning in the cosmos and to align earthly life with the rhythms of the heavens. Whether through the grandeur of Inti-Raymi, the precision of Egyptian star worship, or the interpretive skill of Babylonian priests, these practices reveal a deep spiritual connection to the skies above. The heavens weren't just a backdrop for human existence, they were an active force, shaping beliefs, guiding actions, and offering a sense of order in an often unpredictable world. These ancient rituals remind us that the night sky has always been more than a spectacle. It's been a source of inspiration, a guide, and a mirror reflecting humanity's deepest questions. As we look back on these traditions, we see more than just early attempts to understand the cosmos. We see the roots of our own quest for meaning, a quest that continues to this day. The next time you gaze at the stars, consider how these ancient cultures saw them not just as distant lights, but as partners in the journey of life, a connection that has endured across time and space, uniting us all under the same vast sky. In the ancient world, the heavens weren't just a source of spiritual guidance or agricultural timing, they were also deeply tied to the practice of medicine. Across cultures, celestial events like comets, eclipses, and planetary alignments were believed to have a direct impact on human health, shaping everything from disease outbreaks to the timing of treatments. For ancient healers, the stars weren't just distant lights, they were active forces capable of influencing the body, mind, and spirit in profound ways. One of the most striking examples comes from Mesopotamia, where astrology and medicine were inseparable. Babylonian physicians believed that the positions of the planets and stars could determine a person's susceptibility to illness. By studying astrological charts, they sought to predict not only when a disease might strike, but also the best time to administer treatments. For instance, a patient suffering from a fever might be treated differently depending on whether Mars, associated with heat and inflammation, was ascendant in the night sky. These astrological insights weren't just theoretical, they were practical tools guiding the administration of herbs, incantations, and even surgical procedures. In ancient Greece, the connection between the heavens and health was equally significant. The famous physician Hippocrates, often called the father of medicine, emphasized the importance of celestial cycles in his teachings. He believed that the movements of the stars and planets influenced the body's humors, the four fluids thought to govern health and temperament. An eclipse, for example, might be seen as a sign of imbalance in the humors, requiring specific dietary adjustments or medicinal remedies to restore harmony. This blending of astronomy and medicine wasn't just a quirk of Greek thought. It reflected a broader belief that the cosmos and the human body were intimately connected. The Chinese also wove celestial events into their medical practices, particularly through the concept of Qi, or life force energy. Traditional Chinese medicine held that the flow of Qi could be influenced by cosmic events, such as comets or solar eclipses. A comet's appearance might be interpreted as a disruption in the natural order, signaling the need for acupuncture or herbal treatments to realign the body's energy. Similarly, eclipses were seen as moments of heightened vulnerability, when the balance between yin and yang could be easily disturbed. During these times, healers would often recommend rest, meditation, or specific rituals to protect the body from illness. What's fascinating about these ancient beliefs is how they reveal a holistic understanding of health, one that saw the human body as part of a larger cosmic system. Disease wasn't just a physical ailment, it was a sign of imbalance both within the body and in the wider universe. By aligning medical practices with celestial events, ancient healers sought to restore harmony not just in their patients but in the world around them. This interconnected approach to health and the heavens wasn't just about superstition. It was about recognizing patterns and relationships that often eluded explanation. While we now understand disease through the lens of microbiology and genetics, these ancient practices remind us of the enduring human desire to see the big picture, to understand how the smallest details of our lives are connected to the vast, mysterious forces of the cosmos. As we reflect on these ancient beliefs, we see more than just the origins of medicine. We see a worldview that sought to unite the physical, the spiritual, and the celestial. The stars weren't just objects of curiosity for these healers, they were partners in the quest for health and well-being. And in that partnership, we find a timeless reminder that the universe, in all its complexity, is deeply woven into the fabric of our lives. While the stars have often been seen as a male-dominated realm, the truth is that women have played a vital role in shaping our understanding of the heavens since ancient times. Their contributions, though frequently overlooked, were profound, bridging the gap between science, spirituality, and societal influence. From the halls of Alexandria to the temples of Mesopotamia, women not only observed the skies but also interpreted their mysteries, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire us today. One of the most remarkable figures in this history is Hypatia of Alexandria, a mathematician, philosopher, and astronomer who lived in the 4th century. Hypatia was a trailblazer in every sense, breaking through the barriers of her time to become one of the most respected scholars of the ancient world. She taught astronomy and philosophy, wrote commentaries on complex scientific texts, and even designed astrolabe tools used to map the stars and predict celestial events. Her work wasn't just academic, it was deeply practical, helping sailors navigate the seas and farmers plan their planting seasons. Hypatia's brilliance wasn't just a personal achievement, it was a testament to the intellectual power of women in a world that often sought to silence them. But Hypatia wasn't alone. In ancient Mesopotamia, priestesses played a crucial role in interpreting celestial omens, serving as intermediaries between the heavens and the earthly realm. These women weren't just passive observers, they were active participants in the scientific and spiritual life of their communities. By studying the movements of the stars and planets, they provided guidance to kings and commoners alike, shaping decisions about war, agriculture, and governance. Their interpretations of celestial events weren't just about predicting the future, they were about finding meaning in the cosmos, a task that required both keen observation and deep intuition. In ancient Egypt, women also held significant roles in the study of the heavens. The priestesses of Isis, for example, were tasked with tracking the cycles of the moon and stars, using their knowledge to guide religious ceremonies and agricultural practices. These women weren't just keepers of tradition, they were innovators, blending scientific observation with spiritual insight to create a holistic understanding of the universe. Their work wasn't confined to the temple walls, it rippled out into the broader society, influencing everything from the timing of festivals to the construction of monuments aligned with celestial events. What's striking about these women is how their contributions transcended the boundaries of their time. They weren't just working within the constraints of their societies, they were challenging them, proving that the pursuit of knowledge knows no gender. Whether through the mathematical precision of Hypatia, the interpretive skill of Mesopotamian priestesses, or the ceremonial wisdom of Egyptian priestesses, these women shaped the way their cultures understood the heavens and, by extension, their place in the cosmos. Their stories remind us that the history of astronomy isn't just a tale of telescopes and equations. It's also a story of human curiosity, resilience, and the enduring desire to connect with the stars. As we look back on their achievements, we see not just the roots of science but the roots of a more inclusive vision of discovery, one that continues to inspire us as we reach for the stars today. The next time you gaze at the night sky, remember the women who once stood beneath its vast expanse, their eyes turned upward, their minds alight with questions. They were more than observers, they were pioneers, weaving the threads of science, spirituality, and society into a tapestry that still guides us. Their legacy is a reminder that the heavens belong to everyone, and that the quest to understand them is a journey we all share. The vast oceans and trade routes of the ancient world were not just pathways for goods, they were highways of knowledge, culture, and connection. And guiding those journeys across uncharted waters were the stars above. For ancient sailors and traders, celestial phenomena weren't just objects of wonder, they were essential tools for survival and success. The stars, comets, and even eclipses became their compass, their map, and sometimes their warning system. Take the Polynesians, for example. These master navigators of the Pacific Ocean relied on the stars to traverse thousands of miles of open water. Without compasses or maps, they used the positions of constellations to chart their course, memorizing the patterns of the night sky with astonishing precision. The rising and setting of specific stars, like the Southern Cross, provided critical markers for direction, helping them navigate between islands separated by vast stretches of ocean. This celestial knowledge wasn't just a skill, it was a lifeline passed down through generations and woven into the fabric of their culture. In the Mediterranean, ancient Greek and Phoenician sailors also turned to the heavens for guidance. The North Star, or Polaris, became a fixed point of reference, allowing them to determine their latitude and stay on course even in the darkest nights. But it wasn't just the stars they relied on. Celestial events like comets and eclipses were seen as omens, signaling whether a journey would be safe or fraught with danger. A comet's appearance might be interpreted as a warning to delay a voyage, while a clear, starry sky was a sign of divine favor, encouraging traders to set sail with confidence. These interpretations weren't just superstitions, they were practical decisions shaped by a deep understanding of the skies. The practical applications of celestial knowledge extended far beyond navigation. In the ancient world, trade routes were often timed to coincide with favorable celestial conditions. The monsoon winds of the Indian Ocean, for instance, were closely tied to the movements of the stars. Arab and Indian sailors used their knowledge of the heavens to predict the arrival of these winds, which would carry their ships swiftly across the ocean. Timing was everything. Miss the monsoon, and a journey could be delayed by months. But with the stars as their guide, these traders could plan their voyages with remarkable precision, ensuring that goods like spices, silk, and gold reached their destinations on time. What's fascinating is how celestial events also shaped the cultural exchange that accompanied trade. As goods traveled along these routes, so did ideas, beliefs, and astronomical knowledge. The Silk Road, for example, wasn't just a network of trade routes, it was a conduit for the exchange of celestial wisdom. Chinese star charts made their way to the Middle East, while Greek astronomical texts found their way to India. This blending of knowledge enriched the understanding of the heavens, creating a shared cosmic language that transcended borders and cultures. The impact of celestial phenomena on ancient trade and navigation wasn't just about practicality, it was about connection. The stars linked distant lands, guiding traders across deserts, mountains, and oceans. They turned the unknown into the familiar, transforming the vast, intimidating expanse of the night sky into a reliable guide. For these ancient navigators, the heavens weren't just a map. They were a partner in the journey, a reminder that even in the most perilous of voyages, the stars would always light the way. As we reflect on these ancient practices, we see more than just the origins of navigation. We see the roots of our own quest to explore and connect. The next time you look up at the stars, consider how they once guided ships across uncharted waters, carrying not just goods but the dreams and aspirations of entire civilizations. In their light, we find a timeless reminder that the universe in all its mystery has always been a guide, a companion, and a source of endless possibility. The rhythms of ancient agriculture were not just dictated by the seasons, they were written in the stars. For farmers across the ancient world, celestial phenomena were more than just awe-inspiring displays. They were vital tools for survival. The timing of planting, watering, and harvesting was often carefully synchronized with the movements of the sun, moon, and stars, creating a delicate dance between the heavens and the earth. This connection wasn't just practical, it was deeply spiritual, reflecting a worldview where the cosmos and the soil were inseparable. Take the ancient Egyptians, for example. Their agricultural calendar revolved around the annual flooding of the Nile, an event so crucial it was considered a gift from the gods. But the timing of this flood wasn't random. It was closely tied to the heliacal rising of Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. When Sirius reappeared just before dawn after a period of invisibility, it signaled the imminent arrival of the floodwaters. Farmers would prepare their fields, knowing that the nutrient-rich silt carried by the flood would ensure a bountiful harvest. For the Egyptians, the stars weren't just distant lights, they were partners in the cycle of life, guiding the rhythms of planting and reaping. In Mesoamerica, the Mayans also looked to the heavens for agricultural guidance. Their intricate calendar system, based on precise astronomical observations, dictated the timing of planting and harvesting. The movements of Venus, in particular, held great significance. The Mayans believed that Venus, as the morning and evening star, influenced the growth of crops. They timed their planting to align with specific phases of Venus, ensuring that their maize, beans, and squash would flourish. This celestial farming wasn't just about practicality. It was a sacred act, a way of harmonizing human effort with the will of the gods. But it wasn't just the predictable cycles of the stars that shaped ancient agriculture. Celestial events like comets and eclipses were also seen as powerful omens, signaling the success or failure of a harvest. In ancient China, for instance, a comet streaking across the sky might be interpreted as a warning of drought or pestilence, prompting farmers to take extra precautions. Conversely, a favorable alignment of planets could be seen as a sign of divine favor, heralding a season of abundance. These interpretations weren't just superstitions. They were deeply rooted in the belief that the heavens and the earth were intimately connected, with celestial events directly influencing the fate of crops. Even in Europe, where farming traditions varied widely, celestial phenomena played a role. The ancient Celts, for example, celebrated festivals like Samhain and Imbolc, which marked key points in the agricultural year. These festivals were tied to the solstices and equinoxes, moments when the balance of light and darkness shifted. The Celts believed that these celestial turning points influenced the fertility of the land, and their rituals were designed to honor the earth and ensure its bounty. What's remarkable about these ancient practices is how they reveal a universal truth. The sky and the soil were seen as two halves of a whole. Farmers didn't just look to the earth for sustenance, they looked to the stars for guidance. This connection between the heavens and agriculture wasn't just about survival. It was about forging a relationship with the cosmos, one that acknowledged humanity's place within a larger, interconnected system. As we reflect on these ancient traditions, we see more than just the origins of farming. We see the roots of a worldview that valued harmony and balance. The stars weren't just distant lights, they were guides offering wisdom and insight to those who knew how to read them. And in that wisdom, we find a timeless reminder that the earth and the heavens are not separate realms but parts of a single living tapestry, one that we are all woven into even today. The night sky has always been a canvas for human thought, a place where the mysteries of existence are writ large in the language of stars, comets, and eclipses. For ancient philosophers, these celestial phenomena weren't just objects of curiosity, they were catalysts for some of the most profound questions ever asked. What is the nature of the universe? Do we control our destiny, or are our lives shaped by forces beyond our understanding? The unpredictability of comets and the dramatic suddenness of eclipses didn't just inspire awe, they sparked debates that would shape the course of philosophical thought for centuries. In ancient Greece, where philosophy was born under the same starry skies that inspired its myths, thinkers like Heraclitus and Aristotle grappled with the implications of celestial events. Heraclitus, known for his belief in constant change, saw the cosmos as a reflection of life's impermanence. A comet streaking across the sky, appearing suddenly and vanishing just as quickly, became a metaphor for the fleeting nature of existence. For Heraclitus, the heavens were a reminder that nothing stays the same, a lesson that resonated deeply in a world where the only constant was change itself. Aristotle, on the other hand, approached celestial phenomena with a sense of order and structure. He saw comets and eclipses not as chaotic anomalies but as part of a larger, predictable system. While his explanations were rooted in the science of his time, he believed comets were atmospheric disturbances rather than celestial bodies. His work laid the groundwork for a more systematic understanding of the universe. Aristotle's philosophy reflected a belief in a cosmos governed by natural laws, a view that would influence Western thought for millennia. But it wasn't just the Greeks who found meaning in the stars. In ancient China, philosophers like Confucius and Laozi saw celestial events as reflections of the natural order, or Tao. A comet's sudden appearance might be interpreted as a sign that the balance of the universe had been disrupted, requiring a return to harmony through virtue and wisdom. For these thinkers, the heavens weren't just a backdrop for philosophical inquiry, they were a mirror reflecting the moral and spiritual challenges of life on Earth. The unpredictability of celestial phenomena also raised questions about fate and free will. If the stars could foretell the rise and fall of empires, as many believed, then how much control did individuals truly have over their own lives? This tension between destiny and choice was a recurring theme in ancient philosophy, from the Stoics of Rome to the sages of India. The Stoics, for example, taught that while we cannot control external events, like the appearance of a comet or the darkness of an eclipse, we can control how we respond to them. This philosophy of resilience and acceptance found its roots in the observation of the heavens, where chaos and order coexisted in a delicate balance. What's striking about these ancient debates is how they reveal a universal human impulse to find meaning in the unknown. Whether through the lens of Greek rationalism, Chinese cosmology, or Roman Stoicism, philosophers across cultures look to the skies for answers to life's biggest questions. The heavens weren't just a source of wonder, they were a classroom where the mysteries of existence were written in light and shadow. As we reflect on these ancient ideas, we see more than just the origins of philosophy. We see the roots of our own quest for understanding. The same questions that animated the minds of Heraclitus, Confucius, and the Stoics still resonate today. What is our place in the universe? Do we shape our destiny, or are we merely passengers on a cosmic journey? The stars may not hold the answers, but they continue to inspire us to ask the questions. And in that asking, we find a connection to the thinkers who first looked up and wondered, just as we do. Celestial events weren't just observed by ancient societies, they were celebrated, often becoming the heart of vibrant festivals and rituals that bound communities together. These gatherings weren't just about marking the passage of time. They were about creating moments of shared wonder, reflection, and connection. From the Roman Saturnalia to the Chinese Mid-Autumn Festival, the skies above provided a stage for some of the most enduring and meaningful celebrations in human history. Take the Roman festival of Saturnalia, for example. Held in late December to coincide with the winter solstice, this week-long celebration was a time of revelry and reversal. During Saturnalia, social norms were turned upside down. Masters served their slaves, gifts were exchanged, and the streets buzzed with feasting and merriment. At its core, Saturnalia honored Saturn, the god of agriculture, and marked the darkest time of the year, a moment when the sun's return was eagerly anticipated. The solstice wasn't just an astronomical event, it was a symbol of hope, a reminder that light would soon overcome darkness. For the Romans, Saturnalia was more than a festival. It was a communal affirmation of life's cyclical nature, a way to come together and celebrate the promise of renewal. Across the globe, the Chinese Mid-Autumn Festival offers another striking example of how celestial phenomena shaped cultural traditions. Celebrated on the 15th day of the 8th lunar month, this festival revolves around the full moon, a symbol of unity and abundance. Families gather to share moon cakes, light lanterns, and gaze at the luminous moon, which is said to be at its brightest and roundest on this night. The Mid-Autumn Festival isn't just about the moon's beauty, it's a time to honor family bonds and express gratitude for the harvest. The full moon, with its unbroken circle, becomes a metaphor for completeness and harmony, reinforcing values that have been central to Chinese culture for centuries. These festivals weren't just isolated events. They were threads woven into the fabric of daily life, connecting individuals to their communities and to the cosmos. In ancient Egypt, the annual flooding of the Nile, an event tied to the rising of Sirius, was celebrated with festivals honoring the gods who ensured the river's bounty. These gatherings weren't just about gratitude, they were about reaffirming the relationship between humanity, nature, and the divine. Similarly, in Mesoamerica, the Aztecs held elaborate ceremonies during solar eclipses, believing that these events required rituals to ensure the sun's continued journey across the sky. What's fascinating about these celebrations is how they reveal a universal human impulse to find meaning in the rhythms of the cosmos. Whether through the joyous chaos of Saturnalia, the reflective beauty of the Mid-Autumn Festival, or the solemn rituals of the Aztecs, these events remind us that the heavens have always been more than a backdrop. They've been a source of inspiration, a guide, and a reason to come together. These ancient festivals also highlight the enduring power of storytelling. The myths and legends tied to celestial events gave these celebrations depth and resonance, transforming them from mere observations into rich cultural experiences. The full moon wasn't just a bright disk in the sky, it was Chang, the Chinese moon goddess, or the Roman Luna, shining down on her worshippers. The solstice wasn't just a turning point in the solar year, it was a moment of divine intervention, a time when gods and mortals seemed closer than ever. As we reflect on these ancient traditions, we see more than just the origins of modern holidays. We see the roots of our own need to connect with each other, with nature, and with the cosmos. The next time you celebrate a festival or gaze at the moon, remember the ancient stargazers who first turned these celestial moments into occasions of joy and meaning. In their celebrations, we find a timeless reminder that the heavens, in all their mystery, have always been a source of unity, wonder, and shared humanity. The night sky didn't just inspire rituals and festivals, it also found its way into the very words of ancient storytellers, poets, and historians. From the epic battles of the Iliad to the cosmic struggles of the Mahabharata, celestial phenomena were woven into the fabric of ancient literature, becoming symbols of fate, power, and the divine. These stories weren't just entertainment, they were mirrors reflecting how deeply the heavens influenced the human imagination and worldview. In Homer's Iliad, one of the oldest and most revered works of Western literature, celestial omens play a pivotal role in shaping the narrative. When a solar eclipse darkens the battlefield, it's interpreted as a sign from the gods, a warning that the Trojan War will bring great suffering. For the ancient Greeks, an eclipse wasn't just a dramatic event, it was a divine intervention, a moment when the gods themselves seemed to take sides. This blending of celestial imagery with human drama wasn't just poetic. It was a way of grounding the epic in a world where the heavens and earth were inextricably linked. Across the world in ancient India, the Mahabharata offers another striking example of celestial influence on literature. This sprawling epic, one of the longest poems ever written, describes a cosmic battle that mirrors the conflicts of its human characters. The Kurukshetra War, at the heart of the story, is framed by celestial events. Comets streak across the sky, eclipses darken the sun, and planets align in ominous configurations. These phenomena aren't just background details, they're integral to the story, signaling the gods' involvement and the high stakes of the human struggle. For the authors of the Mahabharata, the heavens weren't just a setting, they were active participants in the drama, shaping the fate of heroes and nations alike. In Mesopotamia, the world's oldest known epic, the Epic of Gilgamesh, also reflects the cultural significance of celestial events. When Gilgamesh, the legendary king, embarks on his quest for immortality, the stars become his guide. Constellations like the Pleiades and Orion are mentioned as markers of his journey, their positions in the night sky offering both direction and symbolism. The stars aren't just navigational tools, they're symbols of the eternal, reminding Gilgamesh and the audience of the unattainable nature of his quest. This interplay between celestial imagery and human ambition adds layers of meaning to the story, turning the heavens into a metaphor for life's greatest questions. What's fascinating about these literary works is how they reveal a universal human impulse to see the heavens as more than just a backdrop. Whether in Greek epics, Indian sagas, or Mesopotamian myths, celestial events are imbued with meaning, becoming symbols of destiny, divine will, and the mysteries of existence. These stories don't just reflect ancient beliefs, they shape them, offering a way for people to make sense of their world and their place within it. As we explore these ancient texts, we see more than just the origins of literature. We see the roots of our own storytelling traditions. The stars, comets, and eclipses that once inspired poets and chroniclers still captivate us today, reminding us that the heavens have always been a source of wonder and meaning. Whether through the tragic omens of the Iliad, the cosmic battles of the Mahabharata, or the celestial metaphors of Gilgamesh, these works remind us that the night sky isn't just a canvas of light, it's a mirror reflecting our deepest hopes, fears, and questions. The next time you read a story or watch a film with celestial imagery, consider how these ancient narratives laid the groundwork for our own. The heavens have always been more than distant lights. They've been characters in the human story, shaping the tales we tell and the way we see ourselves in the vast, mysterious cosmos. In the classrooms of the ancient world, the night sky wasn't just a subject of study. It was a living textbook, a tool for teaching everything from mathematics to morality. For early educators, celestial phenomena offered a way to explain the complexities of the universe while also imparting lessons about life, ethics, and the human condition. The heavens weren't just a source of knowledge, they were a bridge between the practical and the philosophical, shaping the intellectual development of entire civilizations. Take ancient Greece, for example. Philosophers like Pythagoras and Plato used the movements of the stars and planets to teach their students about geometry and harmony. Pythagoras, known for his famous theorem, believed that the cosmos was governed by mathematical principles. To him, the orbits of the planets weren't just random paths, they were expressions of perfect ratios and geometric relationships. By studying the heavens, his students weren't just learning about astronomy, they were uncovering the mathematical order that underpinned the universe. This approach didn't just make abstract concepts more tangible, it instilled a sense of wonder and curiosity, encouraging students to see the world as a place of interconnected patterns and principles. In Mesopotamia, the birthplace of written language, celestial phenomena played a central role in education. Babylonian scholars used the stars to teach mathematics, developing sophisticated systems for tracking planetary movements and predicting eclipses. These calculations weren't just academic exercises, they were practical skills essential for everything from agriculture to governance. Students learned to interpret the heavens as a way of understanding time, space, and even human destiny. The sky was a classroom, and its lessons were as much about logic and precision as they were about the mysteries of the cosmos. But it wasn't just math and science that benefited from celestial education. In ancient China, the study of the heavens was deeply tied to ethics and philosophy. Confucian scholars taught that the orderly movements of the stars reflected the natural harmony of the universe, a harmony that humans should strive to emulate in their own lives. By observing the heavens, students weren't just learning about astronomy. They were absorbing lessons about balance, responsibility, and the importance of living in accordance with the natural order. This holistic approach to education didn't just produce astronomers, it produced thinkers and leaders who saw the universe as a guide for moral and social behavior. The role of celestial phenomena in ancient education wasn't limited to formal instruction. In many cultures, the heavens were also a source of storytelling, used to teach lessons about courage, wisdom, and the consequences of human actions. The Mayans, for instance, wove celestial events into their myths, using the movements of Venus and the moon to explain the cycles of life and death. These stories weren't just entertainment, they were tools for passing down knowledge and values, connecting each generation to the wisdom of those who came before. What's remarkable about these ancient educational practices is how they reveal a universal truth. The sky has always been more than a distant mystery. It's been a teacher offering lessons that transcend disciplines and cultures. Whether through the mathematical precision of the Babylonians, the philosophical insights of the Chinese, or the mythological wisdom of the Mayans, the heavens provided a framework for understanding the world and our place within it. As we reflect on these ancient traditions, we see more than just the origins of education. We see the roots of our own quest for knowledge. The stars that once guided students in their studies still inspire us today, reminding us that the pursuit of understanding is as much about curiosity as it is about connection. The next time you look up at the night sky, consider the lessons it holds not just about the cosmos, but about the timeless human desire to learn, grow, and explore. The night sky didn't just inspire ancient minds through science and spirituality. It also moved their bodies and souls through music and dance. Across cultures, celestial phenomena like comets, eclipses, and planetary alignments weren't just observed. They were celebrated through artistic expression, becoming the heartbeat of ancient performances that honored the heavens and connected communities to the cosmos. In ancient Greece, music and dance were deeply intertwined with celestial rhythms. The Greeks believed that the movements of the planets and stars created a kind of cosmic harmony, known as the music of the spheres. This idea, championed by philosophers like Pythagoras, suggested that the universe itself was a grand symphony, with each celestial body contributing its own unique note. Musicians and dancers sought to echo this harmony in their performances, crafting melodies and movements that mirrored the orderly patterns of the heavens. Festivals like the Pythian Games, held in honor of Apollo, the god of music and the sun, featured elaborate choral performances and dances that celebrated the connection between the divine and the earthly. In Mesoamerica, the Mayans also wove celestial themes into their artistic traditions. Their music and dance were often tied to astronomical events, such as the appearance of Venus or the solstices. The Mayans believed that these celestial phenomena were moments when the gods were closest to the earth, and they used performance as a way to commune with the divine. Dancers, adorned in elaborate costumes representing celestial deities, would move in patterns that mirrored the paths of the stars, their steps a living map of the heavens. These performances weren't just entertainment, they were sacred rituals designed to maintain harmony between the human and the cosmic realms. The influence of celestial phenomena on music and dance wasn't limited to specific cultures. It was a universal thread connecting distant civilizations through shared artistic expressions. In ancient Egypt, for example, the rising of Sirius and the flooding of the Nile were celebrated with music and dance. The Egyptians believed that these events were gifts from the gods, and their performances were a way of expressing gratitude and ensuring the continued favor of the divine. Instruments like harps and flutes were played in rhythms that echoed the cycles of the stars, while dancers moved in patterns that symbolized the eternal flow of the cosmos. Even in cultures where written records are scarce, the artistic legacy of the heavens endures. Indigenous traditions around the world, from the Aboriginal peoples of Australia to the Native American tribes of North America, have long incorporated celestial themes into their music and dance. The rhythms of the stars and the patterns of the night sky are reflected in their songs and movements, creating a living connection to the cosmos that has been passed down through generations. What's striking about these ancient artistic traditions is how they reveal a universal human impulse to express the inexpressible through music and movement. The heavens weren't just a source of inspiration, they were a partner in the creative process, guiding the hands of musicians and the feet of dancers. These performances weren't just about beauty, they were about meaning, about finding a way to translate the mysteries of the cosmos into something tangible and shared. As we reflect on these ancient traditions, we see more than just the origins of music and dance. We see the roots of our own artistic connection to the universe. The next time you listen to a piece of music or watch a dance performance, consider how these art forms once echoed the rhythms of the stars. In their melodies and movements, we find a timeless reminder that the heavens have always been more than a backdrop. They've been a muse, inspiring us to create, to celebrate, and to connect. The allure of celestial phenomena has never faded, not since the first human looked up at the night sky and wondered what lay beyond. From the ancient world to the modern era, comets, eclipses, and meteor showers have continued to captivate our imaginations, weaving their way into the fabric of our cultures, our sciences, and our deepest spiritual beliefs. These cosmic events are more than just fleeting spectacles. They are timeless reminders of our place in a vast, mysterious universe. Think about the last time you saw a meteor shower. Those fleeting streaks of light, burning bright for just a moment before vanishing, carry a sense of magic that transcends time and culture. For ancient peoples, they were messages from the gods. For us, they're a reminder of the dynamic, ever-changing nature of the cosmos. Yet, despite the centuries that separate us, the feeling they inspire remains the same, a mix of awe, wonder, and a humbling awareness of how small we are in the grand scheme of things. Comets, too, have lost none of their mystique. Once seen as omens of doom or divine messengers, they are now objects of scientific fascination, offering clues about the origins of our solar system. Yet, even as we send spacecraft to study them up close, their fiery tails and unpredictable appearances still evoke a sense of wonder. They remind us that the universe is full of surprises and that there's always more to discover. Eclipses, with their dramatic interplay of light and shadow, have also retained their power to captivate. Whether it's the eerie darkness of a total solar eclipse or the reddish hue of a lunar one, these events continue to draw crowds, uniting people across the globe in shared moments of awe. They're not just celestial phenomena, they're communal experiences connecting us to each other and to the cosmos in profound ways. What's remarkable is how these events continue to inspire across disciplines. In art, they've been immortalized in paintings, sculptures, and literature, capturing their beauty and symbolism. In science, they drive exploration and discovery, pushing us to ask questions about the nature of the universe. And in spirituality, they remain sources of reflection and connection, reminding us of the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. This enduring fascination isn't just about the events themselves, it's about what they represent. They're a bridge between the past and the present, a link that connects us to the ancient stargazers who first sought to make sense of the heavens. They remind us that no matter how much we learn, the cosmos will always hold mysteries that challenge and inspire us. In a world that often feels divided, celestial phenomena have a unique power to bring us together. Whether it's a family gathering to watch a meteor shower or a global community marveling at an eclipse, these moments remind us of our shared humanity and our shared curiosity about the universe. They invite us to look up, to wonder, and to dream just as our ancestors did thousands of years ago. So, the next time you find yourself gazing at the night sky, take a moment to reflect on this enduring connection. The stars, comets, and eclipses that once stirred ancient imaginations still have the power to move us today. They're not just part of the cosmos, they're part of us, a reminder that we are all stardust, bound together by the same vast, beautiful mystery. As we bring our journey through the cosmos to a close, it's impossible not to marvel at the profound impact celestial phenomena have had on human history. From the fiery tales of comets to the eerie darkness of eclipses, these cosmic events didn't just light up the night sky. They ignited the imaginations of entire civilizations. For the ancient Greeks, they were messages from the gods. For the Chinese, they were omens of change. And for the Mayans, they were sacred markers of time. These interpretations weren't just stories, they were the foundation of cultures, shaping everything from agriculture to architecture, from rituals to revolutions. What's truly remarkable is how these ancient beliefs and practices continue to resonate with us today. While we now understand the science behind comets, eclipses, and meteor showers, the sense of wonder they inspire remains unchanged. The night sky is still a source of awe, a reminder of how small we are in the grand tapestry of the universe. It's a connection that transcends time, linking us to the ancient stargazers who first looked up and dreamed of understanding the mysteries above. The legacy of these cosmic wonders isn't just in the myths and rituals they inspire, it's in the curiosity they spark. The same questions that drove ancient astronomers to map the stars still drive us today. What lies beyond our world? How did it all begin? And what does it mean for us? These questions aren't just scientific, they're deeply human, reflecting our endless desire to explore, to learn, and to connect with something greater than ourselves. As we stand on the shoulders of those early stargazers, with telescopes that can peer to the edges of the universe and spacecraft that can touch the tails of comets, we carry forward their legacy. The heavens are no longer seen as the realm of gods, but they remain a source of inspiration, a canvas for our imagination, and a mirror reflecting our deepest fears and highest aspirations. So, the next time you step outside on a clear night and gaze up at the stars, take a moment to think about the countless generations who stood beneath that same sky, searching for answers. Let their curiosity spark your own, Share your thoughts with others, dive deeper into the mysteries of the cosmos, and keep looking up, because the night sky isn't just a collection of stars, it's a story, a reminder, and an invitation. An invitation to wonder, to explore, and to dream. What do you think about the role of celestial phenomena in shaping human history? Have you ever witnessed a comet, eclipse, or meteor shower that left you in awe? Share your experiences in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation about the universe alive. And if you're hungry for more cosmic mysteries, don't forget to check out our other videos. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies. There's always more